The Haunted Mind by Ransom Bacchus. Chapter 2. I'm not mad. I know what I saw, and I tell you the Baron's mansion is haunted. I was about to lose my temper, and if I didn't have the glass of absinthe that I was nursing, I most likely would have. Oh, relax, brother. This is stressful on all of us. Really. I think you could use a week or so before going back. There's no rush, really. Madam Beatrice is already busy running her brothel as is, and she's patient. She said she'll wait. She wants it done right. After all, she wants top dollar for the property. Now, Mark, Anthony, I'll see to it that the doctor will visit you first thing in the morning. My brother Todd was a strapping young man. He was built like the best of athletes of ancient Greece. His chiseled jaw and shock of red hair made him quite the eligible bachelor. But Todd was no suitor for anyone. Finding a wife was the least of his concerns. His only goal was to figure out how to acquire the wealth that the Baron had managed to deny us, and I could tell by the look in his deep hazel eyes that he had a plan forming. He would never say, but knowing Todd as well as I did, I could tell when mischief was brewing in his skull. It was 2 days after that horrific encounter in the Baron's mansion, and I was sitting across from Todd in that tavern, sipping tea and absinthe and eating a biscuit, which was a bit on the dry side. Don't patronize me, brother. I know what I saw, and I know what I saw. Mark, it's easy for people under a great deal of stress to hallucinate, especially in unfamiliar and creepy places such as Uncle's house. We know your phobias and how they can easily play on your mind in a place like that. Now, we'll return in a week's time at the crack of dawn, and by the time we get there, it will be no later than tea time. We'll then have all afternoon to poke around, I promise. Things will look better during the daylight when you've had some rest and a bit of time in the opium den. Well, you don't have to tell me twice to stay away from that place, dear brother. Believe me. But I do wish you wouldn't simply chalk this up to madness. Todd leaned in with a mischievous grin. Just between you and me, I can pull some strings with the madam and get you into her house for an entire evening, and you won't have to pay a dime. Isn't a house of ill repute beneath us? I scoffed. Oh, come on, don't be so naive. It certainly wasn't beneath Uncle, was it? Although I imagine that she and many others were beneath him, if you know what I'm saying. He flashed a grin and then a wink. Ugh! Must you be so vulgar? We are Christian men, after all. Think about it. A night of drinking, women, opium, more women, all on someone else's tab. Not too many fellows would pass that up unless they're... Say, you don't. Well, don't what? You don't prefer the company of men, do you? The madam can make special accommodations for that, too. No, of course not, I protested. I mean, it's been ages since I've seen you with a girl, and you're always busy and buried in your books. I just thought... No, I spat in defiance again. I most certainly am not. Buggery is out of the question entirely. I simply do not have the time or the desire for the drama that comes with the fairest sex. My books and my work are enough love in my life, thank you. And besides, such a place is beneath, to be avoided by a good Catholic, after all. Todd put up his hands in mock surrender. Okay, I yield. No need to be so touchy. Oh, perhaps you're right, brother. Perhaps I need a night of debauchery and filth, I surrendered. I can address it in confession on Sunday. Ah, now that's the spirit. I'll send to Madam Beatrice right away and tell her you're coming. She'll set you up for the night. Perhaps I can do some poking around in there to see what else I can find out about Uncle. Poking, he snickered. What's your choice of words, brother? Oh, do grow up, I scoffed, then took a sip of tea and absinthe to make the situation less awkward. Oh, do get a sense of humor, brother. Todd finished the last of his tea, took a final bite of his biscuit, wiped his face, then crumpled the napkin into a ball and left it on the plate in front of him. Let's go back into town. We'll meet up with Benjamin and Susan and discuss our plans. I think it's best that when you return you don't go alone, he said. Well, that's what I told you before I went the first time. But you just made fun of me. Well, I didn't know you were going to lose your noggin over it, Todd laughed. I said nothing. I rose to my feet and left the tavern ahead of my brother. I looked up at the distant hill upon which the castle ruins sat. A light mist obscured it from my view, just enough for me not to see its entirety. That castle was a permanent fixture in Haverfordwest, and could be seen anywhere in Pembrokeshire County. It was much a part of the town as the dragon was of the Welsh flag. As a Briton of such noble lineage, one wouldn't think of someone like myself living among the Welsh in such a quaint town. But I grew tired of the bourgeois life. It was too much to keep up appearances, going to must-appear events, meeting people I had no desire to meet, when all I wanted to do was to be left alone with my studies and my writing. So I decided to move out to where it was quiet and start a new life. Haverfordwest was a perfect place for just that. It wasn't too long before Todd and I had arrived at Madam Beatrice's brothel. The tapestries were ostentatious, the carpet was deep red velvet along the marble floor. The decadence was almost overwhelming. Beautiful women dressed in seductive clothing met us at the door, standing in a line side by side. Hello, boys. It's rare to have a Rathbone in the house. After, well, you know. But, what is your pleasure? Madam Beatrice approached us. She wore the finest clothes, a large red feather boa wrapped around her neck several times. She extended a hand whose white silk glove extended all the way to her elbow. Black hair was long and graced her shoulders. The strong scent of perfume was almost overpowering. Todd took her hand and kissed it. I'll take the usual, he said with a boyish grin that he was known for, as if he were doing something naughty. And for your brother? Well, as my messenger informed you, madam, my brother is, shall we say, inexperienced. It's his first time. I gave my brother a sharp jab in the ribs with my elbow. Ow! Now, let's not fight. There's a first time for everything, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about, Madam Beatrice said. And since this evening is on the house, you'll be treated like our most valued customer, no different than the Baron himself. We insist that you choose the best of everything. Todd leaned closer to the madam and said in a lower tone, See to it that he gets the special recipe of opium, Beatrice's mouth opened a bit, as if to object, but she shut it quickly. I should have felt honored, but I didn't enjoy being compared to such a repulsive man as the Baron. but I decided to set my inhibitions aside and allow Lady Pleasure to have her way for just one evening. After all, what harm could it do? And tonight we have the best of everything, the finest drink, the finest hashish in the water pipes. Absinthe. Yes, I hear you're a fan of that absinthe. Of that, I can assure you, we have the finest in the land. It was almost too good to be true. I'd left the life of luxury and allowed myself to live in obscurity as a commoner so many years ago that I'd almost forgotten what it was like to be treated so well. I selected the most beautiful blonde girl among them. She escorted me to the water pipe lounge, where I indulged in the finest of inhalants and intoxicants. For the most part, the night was a blur of drunkenness, gambling, and more sex and debauchery than one man could have asked for.